Hi YouTube land. I'm here with Charge on a Saturday night, and as you can see, the party hasn't started, nor will it be. It's just gonna be me and Charge and you guys. So I'm gonna bring you a fun story from one of my former lives. When I got out of college, I was determined to work for animals, to make the world a better place for them. Animals have always been my kindred spirits and who I feel I've been most close to. And so I was determined when I got out of college to get a job that would involve wildlife conservation. And but I couldn't. No one pointed me in a particular direction except go to graduate school. So I tried that for a year up at Fort Collins, studying wildlife conservation, and it didn't work out for a variety of reasons. But mostly, so then I returned to Denver to my home, and saw that the Denver Zoo had put out a call for volunteer docents. And docents are folks, volunteers who have been trained and educated about the zoo and animals and who's in there. And so I got to do that, and I really enjoyed it, and I was good at it. And then the zoo had an opening in the development team. The development team, as it turned, so I applied and I got the job, and I was very, very grateful. But the development team was me and my boss, so it wasn't a big department. And when I was a little girl, I didn't grow up saying, I really want to be a fundraiser when I grow up. I never ever uttered that statement, but I ended up doing it for 15 years. So here I am, very young. I think at this point I was no more than like 25. And so I did a good job, I think, at the beginning. And I was very grateful to both my boss and the zoo for showing me the ropes. Fundraising, and so it was good. And in 2 years I had been promoted to being in charge of sort of the corporate membership program. And a lot of corporations wanted to have their summer picnics at the zoo, but we didn't let people do that unless they became donors to the zoo. So my job was to recruit these corporations and get them to give us a gift, and then permit them to have their picnic at the zoo. So again, I'm young, I'm pretty new at this, but I had a couple events that summer and they'd gone well. And IBM came to us and said, we'd like to have our corporate picnic at the Denver Zoo. And we were like, sure, great, what a fun idea. And so we knew it was going to be a big event, but I remember sitting in a meeting with the IBM folks, and we were talking about safety and how you get in and out of the zoo and stuff. And then we got around to the catering. What were people going to be offered at this fun IBM event? And they suggested, how about watermelon slices as one of the sort of dessert items? And I wish in that moment I'd gone, wait a minute, there could be consequences to this. And then very shortly after they said, yeah, and we're expecting 11,000 people. At that moment, my stomach just sank to the floor. I was like, 11,000 people. And they were coming for lunch, and they were going to stay for dinner. Oh. So anyway, the event comes, and luck would have it, it was a beautiful sunny day. And so all the IBM people showed up, and they came for lunch, remember? And then as the day wears on, and one of my jobs was to just stay at the event and drive around and make sure everything was okay. So I'm in my little golf cart, and all of a sudden I notice the trash is overflowing, all over the place. And guess what, folks? When you have a bunch of watermelon rinds, right? People eat their nice watermelon and throw it in the trash. And they just became instant, bee central. Thousands of bees, it seemed like, showed up. And as I'm driving around, I'm noticing this is happening at all the trash cans. And I went, this is a problem. And so I go back to the maintenance yard where the guys were, and I noticed there were no guys. There was no one there. And I'm like, this is not a good sign. And at that moment, Fred popped out. Fred was the electrician at the zoo, and he had been back in the office, and he noticed me out there being quite distraught. And I said, Fred, where are all the guys? And he said, they've walked off. The employees at the zoo were Teamsters, and they were in difficult contract negotiations with the zoo, and they chose that night at my event to walk off the job. in protest. And I'm like, did they forget we were having 11,000 people for dinner? And so I said, what am I going to do about the trash? And Fred said, well, why don't you drive the trash truck? But, I'm young. I'm new at my job, desperate to, please and do a good job. So I climb into the, driver's side of this was a regular sized trash truck. It wasn't like a little mini trash truck. And I get in there and I notice the pedals are 2 feet from my feet. And there were like 18 gears. And I can drive a stick, but that was way beyond me. And so at that moment, Fred, poked his nose back in and said, oh, I'm just kidding. Get out. I'll drive the truck. And so he did. But I did help him pick up, the trash cans and put them in the trash truck, which is the least. It was a bad scene. And we made it better and fixed it. So, and then that night I had to stay at the event till everything was put away, and the tent people would always arrive late. Anyway, I had to sit there and watch them take down the tents. And I'm sitting there with my boyfriend on this little grassy knoll, and I realized all of a sudden, I am very sticky from hauling all that watermelon encrusted trash. And my boyfriend said, yeah, you're really sticky. Have a good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the story.